and welcome to today's reading. I thought we'd change it up on my channel a little bit. We're going to do some readings to do with the current state of affairs in the world and to have a look to see what Spirit has to say. Today I am using the Radley Valentine Angel Tarot cards, and we're going to ask, what is it that's coming around for Trump? What's Trump's destiny? Well, let's see what they have to say. Trump thinks of himself as independent, experienced, realistic, and he also thinks of himself as a very witty man. That he's educated and he's good at making decisions. And he thinks that what he's doing at the moment with his presidency for the United States is clearing away that which no longer serves. And he is desperately trying to find the humor in every situation and to crack jokes and to make it as though he knows what he's doing and things are going to turn out and everything's going to be great. But the reality of the situation is very different from his view that he sees of himself and what he's doing for the United States. I mean, he thinks he's got the whole world in his hands and that he is a superior intellect. But we know this as people, it's not true. But intellectually, he's going to consistently see himself as a superior intellect. But the truth of the matter is, and this is the truth of the matter in his presidency, too much is going on at once. He needs to make decisions, but he's actually giving the decision-making process to other people. But by doing that, obviously it takes the onus off of him, and if things go wrong, he doesn't have to say, oh, it was me, I can fire that person and blame them. But the buck always stops with the person who is the leader. And Trump is blinding himself to this. I keep seeing the Two of Swords and the blindfold. I mean, he'd rather cut somebody else's head off rather than go to the chopping block himself for the failures of his presidency. He should really think about considering a different approach. But as we know, that's not who Trump is. And I think what's going to happen here is that it's going to be his own downfall. And for some reason, I just keep seeing Elon Musk is going to be the downfall of Donald Trump. Even though he feels at the moment that he's in control and he's, being very open and playful in his approach towards things, but it's not going to serve him at all. I just keep thinking that he thinks he's in the lead, but he's not, because it's the people around him that are usurping his power to create their own vortex in which they can draw the power away from the presidency itself. And through manipulating Donald Trump's own weaknesses, they can serve their own agenda. He's a patsy. He knows that his plans need revision, but I don't think he is aware that more is going on than meets the eye. And yeah, it was poor timing. Everything has been a manipulation, and now that is starting to be played out on the world stage, and people are starting to see behind the mask. They're starting to see the lies, they're starting to see the weaknesses, and this is his foundation card. I mean, this is what he's built his kingdom on, is a weak foundation. And you know, his plans did need more revision, but he hasn't taken the time to think. He hasn't taken the time to understand what it is that these people are doing on his behalf. He's surrounded by people who are supplicant sitwits, and I hate to say that word, but it just comes to turn, you know, they are sitwits. They want very much to kowtow and bow down to his perceived greatness because they worship an ideology, and he is the poster child for it. He's not actually in any way, shape, or form a good leader, but he represents all that these people worship, which is money and power and ideologies that do not serve humanity. And when you start building your castle on a rocky foundation, eventually it's going to collapse around you. See, he thinks that he's going to create lavish abundance for himself and those that he serves. He, you know, like, but the fact of the matter is that they already have lavish abundance. They already have all that they need. He's just serving an agenda to keep the status quo. But he's not going to give lavish abundance to his people. It's going to be quite the opposite. But he thinks he's giving birth to his dreams, and he's nurturing himself and others in his circle. But his reality is he should be nurturing his people. That's what the people elected him to do, and that is why things are not looking too good. In the past, he thought that his skilled work, and I don't know if you can call him being a wheeler dealer as skilled work. It's more about chancer and very much manipulating people to gain what he wants to his own ends. And he had no, I just see steps, like he saw people as steps leading him to his goal. But he always thought, has put it and framed it as skilled work being rewarded. And he feels like he's learned all there is to know about a topic. He's very superior in the way he comes across, but in reality, the reality is very different. I mean, you can say, I'm very skilled and know things, but he just repeats things until he beats you into submission of truth, it being truth, when in reality it's not. But he's now finding that people aren't falling for that anymore. You can't keep saying something till it's true. In reality, he needed to go back to school. If he wanted to be that which he is now, he should have gone and studied for it, because his own weakness is his lack of knowledge. His own weakness is his lack of understanding of how economy works, understanding of how every sort of different governing body worked. And yes, that in America there is that weakness of having too many, you know, the expression "too many cooks spoil the broth." But he doesn't understand how they all work together, or the true nature of the work. And he should have, really, you shouldn't have people in power that don't understand how their power works and how they need to wield it and what everything is. And because of that, in the future, you can expect the worst from Donald Trump. It's self-fulfilling prophecies. You saw what he was capable of, and yet you still voted him in anyway, and people knew this was going to happen. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And sleepless nights for Donald Trump, sleepless nights for the American people. It's it's very much worry, stress. But this is all a manipulation of the people that are manipulating Donald Trump. They want you worried, they want you stressed, they want you to be scared, they want Donald Trump to be the fall guy. But he thinks he's the one in control and he's the one with the power, but he's literally just a patsy for the people that are the ones trying to usurp United States power at the moment. See, Donald Trump thinks that, he's going to be in receipt of good news about his financial matters, because yes, he has been ripping off the American people and taking them for every dime he can get with his Bitcoin and his many different fraudulent activities that America has supported through their ardent support of Trump. And I'm talking about the MAGAs. The MAGA people have literally siphoned their wealth to him, believing that he is a second coming of something. I don't even know how to describe it, but he's been very patient in the way that he's done this, and it has made him very successful. But he is, at the moment, not really vested in his presidency. He's already thinking about what he's going to do next. I mean, there are those who are trying to push for him to have third term, sorry, but it's not gonna, this isn't gonna happen. Because of this, his ego. And this is his home. This is what Donald Trump has built himself on. His ego. He's being overly focused on material things. And he has a lot of negative or fear-based thoughts. He puts on a front, but in reality, he's now starting to get really scared because the people are turning on him. And he wasn't thinking that that was going to happen. But now people are starting to stand up and they're starting to fight the government, which is actually a good thing in terms of standing up for your own rights. But Donald Trump's ego was what he built himself on, and his family. His family are the results of being raised by that ego. So everything is ego in Donald Trump's world. And he knows it's a rocky foundation, and he knows that his time is limited. He hopes that he can defend his beliefs and his decisions, and he hopes that he can stand his ground and choose his battle wisely. But he also fears that he's not going to be able to defend his beliefs or his decisions successfully, that he has made himself a sacrificial lamb on the altar of the Republicans' table, and that his downfall is going to be the very thing that pushed him to success. Can he stand his ground? I think Trump is actually quite a weak man underneath it all. I think that his ego is going to be his downfall. I think ego is the thing that is actually going to cause him to implode mentally upon himself. And I see him hidden in his rooms of the presidency and actually quite worried about going outside or something happening to him again, because it's already happened several times where people have made attempts on his life. So he's like, how do I defend what I've done? It's kind of indefensible, isn't it, really? And finally, the outcome for Trump, for his tenure. Too much work. He's caused so much to implode that now he's overwhelmed by the work that is set out to fix what was undone. And to him, that feels like, well, that's way too much work. But it wasn't me who did it. It was Elon and his dudes. But that's and you can't justify that when you are the president. The buck stops with you. Um, he's forced to have to accept help from others in order to fix the damage, and his life is going to be totally out of balance because of the stress and what he's caused for himself, basically. Um, he's literally going to have his head stuck up his rear end for a bit, I think, because he's not going to know how to fix it, because he doesn't know what he's doing to begin with. It's idealisms. It's not actual based on foundation of knowledge and truth and what is needed. It's ideals of what somebody thinks should be the right way of doing something. But that's not necessarily how the system has worked, or what is needed now. What really was needed was a visionary who was there with the highest ideals to change the system for the better, which was to actually knock down and rebuild, to free the people, not enslave them further. And because it's built on false tenure and promises, he's out of balance. He's like literally knocked himself off his own throne through his choices and through the people he surrounded himself with. Yes, men are not always the right people to have. You want people who are going to challenge you and to give you ideas and better ways of doing things. Because if you think that you are the be all and end all of a structure, then you are, well, going to be sorely disappointed, because you can't be right about everything. No one's right about everything. If we were right about everything, nothing would ever go wrong, would it? And what's going to happen for Trump at the end? Stress-related health concerns. I don't think, to be quite honest with you, because of his age and because of the stress that this last 10 years is going to put him under, I see that he's probably not going to be very well. I think it has something to do with his coronary system. I'm seeing his weight, his heart, and the stress caused by the situation that he's not handled very well and the people he's surrounded himself with. So I don't think things are looking very good for him health-wise. And I think that he may have to withdraw because of it. So I don't think it's going to be that, he gets another round at the presidency as Caesar. I mean, look what's happened to Caesar last time. I think that what's going to do him in is his own poor health decisions, his poor business decisions, his poor everything decisions. This has been the reading for Trump today. I don't know if you agree with it or not. If you'd like to leave your comments down below, I would love to hear them. Please do leave me a thumbs up, and I will be back with my next reading, and that's going to be about Keir Starmer. Thank you, my darlings. Take care. Bye now.